Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to another episode of Manifesting Muslimah. I'm your host Zara Pedersen, and today we're going to be talking about shifting your perspective to manifest quicker. So before I begin, I don't know, you can probably hear it in the background if I'm quiet. No? The moment the moment I'm quiet, she stops. My dog's outside barking. You know the drill. I'm recording, not in a studio, but at home. I've also got a fan on and creating a draft with two doors open. So if you hear like a whoosh or something, it is the wind. But I am obviously the main thing you should be hearing because I'm the one sitting closest to the microphone. But if you hear anything in the background, you'll know what it is. It is not a disturbance on your end. It is a background disturbance on my end. So, I hope that you can forgive me for that, but I am just a regular schmegular person trying to create valuable content for you. So I do that however and whenever I can. Okay, so that being said, let's talk about perspective changes and why perspective is so important when we want to use the law of attraction. I am going to use the example of money specifically because I think that is something that even if we are not ready to own the fact that we desire more money, like that is one of our big goals to have a lot of money, and I'll come back to something like that in a minute, but I'm just going to put that out there right now. Put that in your pocket for a little bit later because we'll come back to it. It is undeniable that inflation is real. We can all feel it. We can all feel the pinch from time to time. House prices are going up, rent is going up, the cost of living, water, heating, electricity, everything is going up, including how much a litre of milk costs, a dozen eggs, whatever. Just like the basic stuff that, we're just used to, we were raised with. The cost of everything has gone up, except the cost of labor. If anything, the cost of labor has actually gone down because people have figured out that it's easier to outsource labor to other countries where they can exploit people, basically. So that means that we who don't live in those places where we can easily be taken advantage of in the same way, have to settle with a lower wage instead of having our wages go up. And as a result, we're all struggling most of us are struggling to make every day sort of just come around harmoniously, economically speaking. Okay, so let's talk about how perspective changes things for us when we're wanting to manifest money. And the first thing that I want to say is it comes down to your thoughts about what it means to have more money. Now, I know that a lot of you will be like, oh no, but it would just be so much ease and whatever. But if you were to sit down and make that specific goal, I want more money, and you are driven by the goal of money to attain more money, a lot of you might feel initially excited about it, but then scared that you're going to come across looking greedy, okay? Or, selfish or limited in your mindset around what will make you happy in this world. Like money can't buy you happiness. You have to find happiness in other things. You might have people say, oh, you're ungrateful for the things that you have. There are so many other people suffering around the world. At least you have a home and food in your belly. And so you should just be grateful and stop, putting yourself in a situation where you should be attaining only for more. You should just be grateful, especially as Muslims. And I think that is, I think it's more prevalent in the Muslim community simply because we are such big charity givers. We give a lot to charity, and that's a beautiful thing. But it also is to the point where there's almost like another sense of, oh, you have so much, you should give more. And of course, if you can afford it, give more. But you are still allowed to have more for yourself. You're still allowed to have an abundance. You're still allowed to have excess. But there's definitely a societal or cultural understanding within Muslim communities that if you're rich, it must mean you're taking from somebody who doesn't have it, or you're not giving enough or sharing enough of your wealth, which definitely is not the truth. So understanding what actually happens inside of your mind when you're thinking about attaining more money or wanting or desiring more money, down to the point where it's like, oh, it makes me feel like I'm being greedy or ungrateful for what I have, or that I'm focusing on the wrong things, or if I die, I can't take my money with me anyway. I should be focusing on, I don't know, my health or my husband or my children or whatever. And these are all very fine and noble things, but none of those things are necessarily going to pay your rent. And listen, I know that some of you probably are like, yeah, the husband. Sometimes not even the husband can do that, right? You need money. In this day and age, money is not a desire only. It is a very specific need. It is a need in order for us to, one, survive, but also to live good lives and create a sense of freedom and create, what's the word I'm looking for here? Like a more mental capacity space for us to enjoy our lives and not to worry and not create stress around our lives. Okay, so I want you to think back specifically in terms of money right now, if you're thinking about money. And listen, if you're not necessarily interested right now, you're not ready to admit that you want more money, then keep listening, because this also applies to other aspects. If you're wanting to manifest a partner or another child or a bigger house or another car or whatever it might be. So keep listening, because I will also come into a topic around that as well a little bit later on in this episode, okay? So my nose is so itchy today. So if I sound a little nasally, it's probably because I'm trying to scratch my nose. And I don't know what to do about it. Like, I think it's a little hay feverish situation. So I am taking, I can't remember what they're called, antihistamines. But yeah, sometimes it's just not going to be enough, is it? So if I sound a bit nasally, it's probably because I'm scratching my nose. So, okay, so I want you to think back to your childhood, the things that you'd been told about money, okay? Money is dirty, like the actual filth of money. Like, you don't put money in your mouth because it's dirty. Now, listen, that's not necessarily a bad thing to say, because, clearly you don't want to put money in your mouth, because if you know how many people had it in their hands before. But the act of saying money is dirty in and of itself also extends to money itself. Like the idea of money is dirty. Money is the source of all evil. Making a lot of money must mean that you've been selfish, that you've stepped over a lot of people to get it, that you've robbed people. Maybe you've done something sinful in order to attain that kind of wealth. That it's greedy. It's greedy to want money. How can you must be a greedy person if all you can think about is money, and not think about other things. Maybe you're thinking that you were kind of raised with the idea that it was almost ungrateful of you to want more money. Like, you should just be happy with what you have and be grateful for what you have. So, almost to the point where wanting more was greedy of you and ungrateful. So ideas like this, money doesn't grow on trees, I'm not made of money, little sayings like that, a lot of them are quite negatively loaded. And when we're raised with this, while we might not think that much about it when we're young, and our parents tell us that to begin with, we're growing up with the same idea that money is dirty, right? And that, as I said, extends to more than just like the physical note or coin. It's also like that money itself is dirty, that it's greedy to want more money, that it's ungrateful, if you, like, you're an ungrateful person if you want more money, that you're not happy with what you have, that you have to be an evil person, or that having a lot of wealth creates evilness within you, and basically all of these things that aren't necessarily true about money. It's absolutely true for some people, but it doesn't have to be your truth. So, one good place to shift perspective, where a perspective shift is very helpful, is if you're trying to manifest more money, because you cannot manifest something that you're also actively resisting. And resisting it is saying this is something bad. So everything inside of you is going to, whether or not you want to, consciously, subconsciously, you're going to repel money. Because the moment you get more, you're going to start, like, everything inside you is going to say, you need to get rid of it. It's dirty of you to have that much. It's not safe. It's going to create evilness in you. It's not religious of you. You're not a good Muslim if you have too much money. You should give it all away to charity. It's dirty of you. People are going to question where you have it from. People are going to take advantage of you now that you have money, so you can't share it with people. Anything like that. Okay, so we sabotage because our money mindset around that is so destructive. It is basically repelling the things that we want the most. Okay, so perspective changes is taking something like, it's greedy to want more money and changing it to, it is healthy for me to want more money. The more money that I have, the more people I can help, the less stress I can have, and the more I can focus on my religion and stress less about my bills. For instance, that was just like an example. You know, the more money you have, the more abundance you have financially, the less you're going to worry about, is the electricity bill paid? Can I afford new shoes for my child? Can I afford a holiday for myself? Can I treat my mum and dad to something special because they looked after me? You know, all of these things. Can I pay zakat? How much can I afford to give in zakat? You know, and feeling comfortable with the amount that you're given. I know there's been times where I'm like, oh, I wish I could give more, but I couldn't. Because I did not physically have it. And so being able to give to the point where you feel really good about your charity giving, right? The more you earn, the more you can give, right? So changing the whole narrative that you have around money and making it so that it is helpful, because ultimately you earning more money and wanting more money, as long as you do it in an ethical, non-haram way, there is nothing wrong with it. Allah doesn't say it's haram for you to be rich. Money, however, can corrupt people. So, of course, if you want a lot of money, it is very important for you to continuously turn your face back to Allah. Remember that you are nothing without Allah. So I would say the more money you have, maybe, you know, or the more money you start to earn, it's important to make sure that you're also on top of your religion and making sure that you're giving, that you're not becoming, what's it called? Oh, not Donald Duck, Donald Duck's uncle. You know, the one with the top hat, the what, greedy duck, greedy McScrooge, I can't remember. What's a greedy McScrooge? I don't know what greedy McScrooge is, but you know the one I'm talking about, because he was like a penny pincher. Nothing wrong with being a penny pincher either. There's nothing wrong with being frugal and understanding money, but he was very selfish with his money. He didn't want to spend any of his money. You don't want to go that direction. That's, of course, another, because honestly, what is his name? We're going to call him Greedy McScrooge, but you know the one I'm talking about. But Greedy McScrooge had the mentality of lack, meaning if he spent money, he was going to become poor. So you don't want to keep the mindset of lack when you do have money. Again, change the perspective. The more I spend, the more I earn. The more I give, the more I receive. Okay, so start creating a different perspective. See things from a different side. Instead of looking at you wanting and desiring money as you being ungrateful for the things that you have, it is, I am so grateful for the things that I have, but I know I have the privilege to attain more within the lifestyle that I live. And as such, I would like to do that because either it'll make me able to buy stuff for my children, for myself, for my family. It'll remove the stress mentally from me in terms of paying my bills. And when I don't have that stress, I become a better person, and it's easier for me to find time to pray to Allah, because I don't work 24/7 trying to earn a living, or just the baseline, whatever it might be, right? So you know your situation best, and I promise you there's a way to look at it. Even if you're already making a lot of money and you still want more, it is perfectly safe and healthy for you to do so. Understand your why, though, and that's the reason, your intention. Are you trying to earn more money so that you can hoard it, or are you trying to earn more money because, oh, it would be nice to be able to afford a holiday for my mum and dad, and it would be nice, like, give the money a home, give it a specific reason. And it's okay also if it's, I just want another flashy car. You know, it's okay to want these things. It doesn't make you materialistic. It's okay for us to spoil ourselves sometimes, bring ourselves these joys from time to time. As long as it doesn't make us inherently, not inherent, as long as it makes us, as long as it doesn't change our psyche, that we think we're better than other people because we're driving a certain car, because we live in a specific home, because we have X amount of money. If money, and you probably know this about yourself already, otherwise you're going to learn this very, very quickly. Some people and money is just awful combination, because there's a part of them already that's a bit of an asshole. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sorry if that offends you, but it's the truth. If you know that the moment you start making more money, that you start feeling better than other people, if you have this superiority complex within you somewhere, and you know this about yourself, making more money, that is the danger for you. That doesn't necessarily mean that you can't make more money, but it means you have to be very cautious to keep yourself in line and in check. Okay, that doesn't mean you can't make more, but it means you need to seriously work on why these things make you feel inferior to other people. Okay. So it might be worth dropping in, seeing a therapist, talking about those complexes while we can, right? Before we start attaining more money. Okay. And for other people, you have to remember that one thing that I always like to say is that money in and of itself is it's not a living, breathing thing. You know, it has no energy. We're the ones who give it energy, right? So when we have money, when I have money as a person, that money is just going to magnify what is already inside of me. It's only going to reflect who I am as a person. So what you often find is when I come into money, the first thing I'll do is pay off my own debts and stuff, whatever I might have lying around, bills, whatever. And then I'll look at my family, see if there's anything that I can do there first, or I might pay off something in charity or something. But I will always try first and foremost, get rid of my own, because that will create peace of mind for myself, and then look outside of myself and see what else I can do with that money, because that's what I do. That's what I want to do. Now, I've never had an excess of, I don't know, I can't even think of an amount right now, but you know, like where I'm like financially wealthy person. So I can't speak to if I start making that kind of money one day. But it is important to understand that whatever I think, believe, feel, act, and behave like, that is the reflection that the money is going to show in the outside world. This is why I say, if you are a person who has inferiority complexes already and you want to attain more money, before you do that, work on that thing, because it's only going to be magnified the moment you have money. And that is because money is a magnifier. It basically shows who you are. It's so difficult to explain, but it's because it allows you certain freedoms and certain luxuries that you can show the direction of the mindset of the person. Where does this person place their focus? And this is also why a lot of people say it's greedy, but a lot of the people that have money right now are not interested in helping. They don't have the morals, the religious or spiritual perspective to look inwards and look beyond themselves. So they end up creating a magnifying glass of them that looks greedy and selfish and horrible and evil, and supporting Israel, just to put out a few suggestions out there of what it could look like when money is magnifying something within a person that is rotten. Okay, but that doesn't have to be you. Okay, so that's just one place that I would say, you know, like, and is such a popular place to do like a bit of a perspective change, because I think a lot of us can relate to some of these ideas around money and what it means to be wealthy. And there's a reason why these ideas are there, because a lot of us were fed these ideas when we were young children. And the reason why today we may have a difficult time coming to terms with or making peace with wanting more money for ourselves and then attracting the money into our lives. Okay. So what I want to move over to is, as I said a little bit earlier, if you have the money and this is not a problem for you to, you know, manifest more money, and you're thinking, but how can I use this in terms of manifesting a partner? Now, this is again where perspective changes. Like literally, it's so funny. I do this so often with one-on-one coaching sessions and in my membership group where we do the twice weekly meetings and coaching, is I offer a different perspective to my members and my clients, because oftentimes the only thing that stops you from manifesting the thing that you want is the perspective change. The shift in your perspective will make all the difference. So if you want to marry someone and you are looking for a partner, and a perspective change for you could be if you think that you have to be skinny in order to marry someone, like you have to look sexy or like look attractive, and you don't feel confident within yourself, you need to change that perspective. The perspective could be, I'm not marrying someone because they like the way that I look. Oh, excuse you. I'm marrying someone because they love me, and I'm good enough to marry as a whole, like as a person, and my looks is a bonus. Excuse me, can you not make all these little sounds? Can you not make these sounds down there, Twinkie Dinks? You pretty little girly. Such a pretty girly. Sorry about that. Just got distracted there by her beautiful little face. Yeah, so that could be a perspective change, or that your looks don't detract from who you are as a person, that the right person who is the right one for you will 100% see your value the moment that he meets you, rather than someone who's going to focus on looks solely. Because if that's the person that you're interested in and that person's only interested in what you look like and makes it a problem, my darling, that's not the one for you. And you should 100% continue looking, because I promise you, that's not your man. that ain't your man. Okay. Another way to look at things is, let's say we want more children, but or a child or whatever, but then we have a sibling who can't have babies, or a friend who struggles to have a child. So we might feel guilty that we can, and now we have that option. So we are subconsciously getting in our own way of working towards the thing that we want the most. And so instead of saying, again, like the perspective changes, I shouldn't be so selfish to attain a child, at Childs R Us, where you just buy a child, just keep the receipt, right? If it turns out to be a bastard, so you can return and be like, no, I want another one. This one keeps talking back. I'm sorry, my mind today is off on one. I apologize. What was I saying? I'm sorry, I'm stuck on Charles or Us. Yes, so instead of you thinking that it's selfish of you to want a child or to want another baby, even if you already have some and there's a friend or a sister or somebody in your life who's struggling to have babies or whatever, or is not married and can't have babies right now, or whatever it might be, then you need to look at it slightly different, change the perspective. Allah has blessed me with this gift and the willingness to want these children, and a friend who might want more children that they can love from me. I can, I was going to say something really bad, but like, don't cancel me. I was about to say share parenting, but that's not what I mean. But, that friend can share in the joys of the children with you through your children. Or, just because Allah has put a specific trial, a specific test on one person, doesn't mean that you have to carry the burden of that person's trial. You can be empathetic and you can be there for the person, but it shouldn't cost you what Allah has already given you to blessed you with. Okay, I know that can sound so strange to say, because it can sound selfish of us, even the way that I'm saying it now. There's a part of me still inside that's so struggling with this. Again, I really need to sit down and do some perspective changes on that for myself. But we've all got our separate tests in life, and so just because I'm being tested with one thing, it would make me so sad if a friend or a sister or somebody came to me and said, I didn't do it because I felt sorry for you for not having it, so I didn't want to rub it in your face. I'd be like, are you dumb, biatch? Like, you need to live your best life. And so sometimes the perspective change is also like, would this person be happy for me? And if they wouldn't be happy for you, maybe they're not even real friends or whatever to begin with. But that's just like a little thing for you to think about, to consider. But generally speaking, change the perspective around, see it from a different angle, from a different side, because everything has more than one side. Everything has more than one side. It has hundreds of sides depending on how you're looking at it. And of course, if you're stuck at looking at things from a place of shame, guilt, greed, selfishness, whatever, then it's really difficult for you to then create a life of abundance and joy in your life, because every time you do, your subconscious is dragging you back to, you should be ashamed of yourself, you should repent because you're being greedy or whatever. And that's just simply not the case. But it is so important for us to look at the perspective from a different angle that can be more helpful to us, because ultimately we also know in all of these things, the majority of the time, we will know and understand that we have these desires for a reason, because Allah has planted these desires in us. It is not by accident. So there's a part of you that Allah has made, where Allah has made these things. Okay, bye. Sorry guys, where Allah has made these things a part of your qadr if you choose that direction, if you choose that road to travel on. And if you want to know what I mean by that and you haven't heard it, you need to go and listen to Qadr and Free Will, or Destiny and Free Will. I did that episode a few episodes back. And then you'll know what I mean by that sentence if you got a little lost in that. But there's a part of you that Allah's like, you can go this way, you can go that way. So we have more than one thing that we want in life. And some of the things we've learnt is acceptable, and other things we've learnt are not acceptable. And that is not because those things are or are not acceptable. It is because that's the story that we have been told. So even the thing that you feel you've been taught has been unacceptable is actually perfectly acceptable. For instance, as I said again, if we're coming back again to wanting to manifest a marriage, a lot of my clients to begin with had this idea that, well, not a lot of my clients, a few of my clients have come to me with a very specific thing of like, I'm afraid that I'm too successful to find a husband because I make too much money and it's going to be threatening to a man. And that is not in Islam. That is not in anything. That is culture based and tradition based. And let's just be real, that is part of the patriarchy to keep women down. I'm not here to talk about the patriarchy, but it exists. It is thriving. And when I see that some of you are afraid to be too educated, make too much money on your own, and give yourself your own house and your own car and things like that, I see you making yourself small because you're afraid you're going to chase off something else. And the reality is that the perspective changes. I'm elevating myself, meaning that the guy that I'm looking for should also be at that same level as me, so now I'm basically going up a notch. not in person like a character and stuff, but like the lifestyle. I should be looking at a different bracket of men. It kind of depends on you, but I would say it that way, like if I want somebody to match my lifestyle, if you want to be the provider in your household, then maybe that's not going to change anything for you. But if you want the man to be the provider, then yeah, you might want to change the bracket of where you're looking for men and what you would expect of them in a marriage. So it would just be like, change the perspective, change that perspective. It is safe for me to earn more money. It's safe for me to be a provider of myself. It's safe for me to give myself expensive things. It does not mean that I have to compromise other places. It does not make me a bad person. It does not make me selfish or greedy. It just means that I can give more. I can elevate the level of my charity. I can elevate the level of my gifting to the people that I love and caring for and helping them. It elevates my level of being able to... Oh my God, you need to stop now. Enough. You keep scaring me. Every time she barks, you hear me go, ooh, ooh, because it actually scares me a little, or makes me jump a little. I do apologize about that, my darlings. I really do. Oh my goodness, I lost my train of thought there. Oh gosh, I am so sorry, my darlings. I really lost my train of thought. But it was something to do with, and if I don't come back to it, I do apologize, because, my brain farted and it's gone. It's just gone with the wind. It left no odor. So anyway, yeah, it's just a question of changing your perspective, looking at it from a different perspective. Oh, now I know. Thank you, Zara, for just rambling on, because that made my brain think about it. It can also mean, making more or having more for myself means that I stress less, which mentally gives me more energetic capacity to not stress when I'm reading my Quran, or hurry myself when I'm sitting in Salah, or that I don't feel like I'm constantly coming to Allah asking for more and more and more, but I can also come in thanks because I truly mean it, and I feel really blessed, and I'm not trying to hide anything. I'm not trying to come to Allah and pretend that I don't want more money, or that I'm not happy about the money, and that the money is an advantage and a privilege to some, in some ways. That, that we're coming from a place of honesty still, and when we then sit down as religious people and we pray and we do the things, we're coming from a place where we have a little bit more mental capacity to be there and be present, instead of praying and being like, oh, I'm going to be late for my second shift today, or I'm praying but at the same time my mind constantly thinks about that electric bill that I still haven't paid, all of those things. Because let's be real, it is such a real side of the world we live in today. Financial worries take up so much mental space. So change the perspective around that. Look at it from a different angle, and then manifest it with more ease into your life. All right, my darlings, I'm going to stop here. My nose is extremely itchy. I think I need to take another antihistamine. And I'm sorry if this episode was all over the place, but I do hope that you still could take little bits of this episode and that you could find the benefit in it. If it was completely rubbish, please let me know. I do apologize. I try my best. But if you really couldn't make sense of what I was trying to say and the message that I was trying to give to you today, then do let me know. Also, reach out to me on Instagram at Manifesting Muslimah. Let me know your thoughts. If you've got episode suggestions, anything like that, I love a good chitter-chatter with a voice note. So that's at Manifesting Muslimah. And, of course, please do leave a review and let me know what you think about the podcast. And if it's critical, what's it called? Oh my God, my mouth and my brain today is the heat. It's the heat, my darlings. I think it is. My Viking side is like panicking slightly that it's only going to get warmer and warmer and warmer still, and my Moroccan side is like, this is beautiful, this is heaven, I'm so happy. So there's a great war being fought within me, just in terms of how I feel about the heat already. Yes, if you've got constructive criticism, please do let me know first by reaching out to me before writing it in a review, because then I'll have a chance to perhaps correct it if it's something that I can correct. But if it's not, then of course go ahead and write it in a review. But yeah, just give me a chance to also, give me a chance to better myself. I'm like, oh, how long have I been doing this for now? It might be, where are we now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... 6, 7, 8. 8 months in. Wow. Okay. 8 months in on this podcast. That's good. We need to do something special for the 1 year anniversary. 1 year anniversary. We're sticking with it. My darlings, I need to go. I should have gone a long time ago, and yet here I am. My darlings, thank you so much for listening. And until next time, please don't forget to live in love.